Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to take you through the full build process of this gaming PC. Some of the components I'll be using include the Corsair LL 120mm RGB fans, the ROG Strix 4080 Super GPU and the Kraken Elite 360, and this is the Mark II edition with a larger OLED screen. For the motherboard we'll be going with the ROG Strix X870E series. We'll also be using the Corsair RM1000X power supply, which I did a quick unboxing in a previous video, so let's get into this. So the motherboard I'm going to be using is the X870E from Asus. It's AI certified, Wi-Fi 7, Dolby Atmos and Aurora Sync. I've never opened this before. I'm quite looking forward to seeing what's inside the box. So let's open it up and have a quick look. So let's just put the motherboard to the side for a moment. See what we have here. Looks like we've got a ROG Strix keyring, which is quite cool. Quite like that. Also got the instruction manual and a diagram, some ROG Strix stickers if you're into that kind of thing. Some thermal pads, tie wraps, USB cable for an external hard drive. Let's open up the ESD packaging and have a look at the motherboard. Looks quite nice. So the CPU I'm going to use today is the 77800X3D. I'm going to use a couple of 990 M.2 drives from Samsung. So let's put this all to the side for a moment and get this CPU fitted. It's an AM5 chip, which is a little different nowadays to the AM4. It hasn't got the pins on it anymore. It's got a latch system, as you can see when I go to fit it. Make sure that the gold triangle lines up with the triangle on the motherboard. Put the latch back down, make sure it's nice and secure. Always like to give it a good check first. And when you feel good, push your lever down, lock it in place, take off the cap. That's it fitted. Now the heat sinks on these boards are absolutely massive. The SSDs do generate quite a lot of heat, so I can see why they've done it. They're really easy to come off. Just push the clip and they pop off. I'm going to take off the protective cover for the thermal pads. Take the Samsung 990, put it into slot 1 because this is going to be my main slot that's going to have windows on it. Pop it back into place. Nice little peel there. This is actually a pipe heatsink. And to put it back on, you just slot it into place, push down and it'll clip. So for RAM I'm going to be using Corsair Vengeance. This is DDR5 RAM. Always make sure you put it in the right slots, which if you're putting 34 gig, it will be slots 2 and slots 4. Make sure it's nice and secure and firmly push it into place, it will click. And same again on slot 4. Push it down, nice and firm, and it'll click into place. Now I'm going to be using 64 gig of RAM, so I'm going to be using all the slots. So same process again. Push it down, make sure it clicks, and you're good to go. So the next thing I'm going to do is take off these mounting brackets. These are the standard that comes with most motherboards nowadays. I don't need them as I'm going to be using the brackets that come in the accessory pack with the AOI pump. And I'll be attaching them where I'm taking these screws out, and then they attach to the back plate on the back of the motherboard. So next up, we've got to put the motherboard inside your case, making sure that the I/O shield lines up the cutout inside your case. Once that's in, we need to screw it all in, going from corner to corner, making sure it's getting even pressure and there's no putting any strain on your motherboard. So next up, let's take a look at the Kraken pump. This is the Kraken Elite 360 from NZXT, and it's beautiful OLED, massive screen. So open up the box and see what's inside. The AMD kit, the Intel kit, the 3 fans, your all-in-one cable, and you get an accessories kit with all your mounting screws and mounting fittings that we're going to be using. I'm going to be using the AMD kit, so we don't need the Intel. Let's get rid of that. So let's take the fans out and have a look at them. I've got the black fans. I deliberately got the black fans. These are non-RGB, as you'll see why later on in the build. I'm going to be fitting LL fans, completely different ones to this unit. Let's take this out of the packet and have a look at this massive OLED screen. This pump head is huge. Can't wait to see what this looks like. Nice and shiny. It's absolutely huge. This comes with pre-applied thermal paste as well, so you don't need to add your own. Right then, let's get this rad out the packet. This is a 360mm radiator. It comes with this all-in-one slot that you put the all-in-one cable. Goes into here. Attached is the cable for the LED fans, which I won't be using. It has a USB and a SATA power. Makes the build extremely neat and tidy. I'll be fitting the LL120 fans, 3 of them. These non-RGB black fans I'm going to use and fit at the bottom of my case, so it gives airflow to my GPU later on in the build, you'll see. So inside the box of the LL120 pack, you get the Corsair RGB hub, you get the USB cables, and you get your SATA connections, screws to fit to your case. It's a great wee pack. I use these quite a lot. Let's get these fitted. I'm going to speed the video up, screw them all in. So now it's time to get the case fans fitted. The case I'm using is the half 700 Evo from Cooler Master. It's absolutely tremendous case, loads of airflow. The good thing about this is you can get a lot of fans in it, as you can see when the build will be finished. The two fans fitted at the back are exhaust, and I'm going to have 6 exhaust at the top. These are going to be intake fans. Going to be 3 of them fitted, so I'm fitting 3 side mounted fans, 120s. These are going to be intake alongside the sickle flow fans that come pre-installed with the half 700 Evo. They're 200mm PWMs. As I go along, I'm just trying to do as much cable management as I can, feeding the wires from the front of the case to the back. Just going to go ahead and speed the rest of the video up while I fit the rest of the fans to the case. So next up, it's the power supply unit. Let's get them plugged in. Corsair's good enough to label their cables. These are the Type 4s, which go into the motherboard. Make sure you press firmly so you've got a good secure connection. And the 12 volt PCIe that goes to the GPU. This is the whole reason I bought this power supply unit. Always make sure that you push this in firmly. It's not sitting at any angles and it goes in straight. Don't be scared to push it completely in all the way. Next up, CPU. CPU power feeds straight into the motherboard. On this particular motherboard I'm going to need 2 because I do a lot of overclocking. Don't always need to plug 2 in, but if you are going to overclock your motherboard it's always good to put 2 in. Last, SATA cables, I'm going to need at least 2 or 3. I'll put 2 in for the time being because I do have a lot of LEDs and a lot of fans, so they're going to need a lot of SATA power. I think I'll just go with 2 SATA cables to begin with. If I need to add more, I can do it later date. So next up, let's get this PSU fitted into the case. The Half Evo is really good as it has a tray that sits just above the ground level, so it's not sitting on the deck. It has its own little tray and its own purpose built screws that are inside the case that are universal fit, so there's no faffing about. As you can see. Oh, very nice and neat indeed. So while the back of the case is like spaghetti junction, I like to use this velcro roll and velcro straps, do a little bit of cable management, just to neaten things up a bit, and it makes the workspace just a little more tidier and easy to manage. I'm just going to speed this up and you can watch the process. So as you can probably tell, this build uses a lot of USB ports. Now this motherboard comes with 3, I need at least 8. So you can see here I'm feeding this USB cable direct from the motherboard and I'm going to put it into an NZXT splitter. These things are particularly good and work really well. I've used them in a lot of builds. It just gives you 4 extra options from one USB on your motherboard, so typically you can have 8 just using 2 ports. Now once I've done that, I'm going to feed the LED cables into the Corsair hubs. I've just stuck them on the side of the unit as it just keeps them out of the way instead of them rolling about inside the case. It's a bit like spaghetti junction, but I will neaten all this up. As you can see, I've fitted some Lian Li strimmer cables just for nice aesthetics. I'm now going to fit the GPU into the motherboard slot. Be careful when you're fitting these, don't rush it, take your time. Gently place the motherboard into the slot and give it some good even pressure so it slots into place just like that. Lift up the flap at the sides, make sure it's seated nicely, screw it into place and take your time. This motherboard was £1,400, it's one I do not want to break. So always take your time when fitting your GPU, there's no rush. You can save yourself a lot of money in the long run if you do damage them, because they do damage easy. Now to fit the 12 volt line into the GPU. Now all the components are fitted, let's have a look at the outcome. So the only other additional item that I have added is the ROG Strix card holder. All this does is stop GPU sag. It looks good as well as it ties in with the lighting aesthetics. Hope you all enjoyed the build, and I'll catch you in the next one.